Have you ever heard of a religion taking over an entire city? Well, at some point in our history, the Catholic Church did take control of Vatican City, and Islam pretty much runs the Saudi cities of Mecca and Medina. Well, I'm talking about in the 21st century, right here in the United States, in the state of Florida. Yes, a church is taking over a Floridian city. The city is Clearwater, the 20th largest city in the state of Florida. And that takeover, you might say, has already happened. So join me on my walk today through downtown Clearwater, where we get to observe signs of a religion overtaking a modern American city. We start our walk in downtown Clearwater, 2 blocks away from the main Cleveland Street at the Flag Building, which is the international headquarters of the Church of Scientology. This religion was started by L. Ron Hubbard in New Jersey in 1953. In 1975, the church bought property 2 blocks from here and established it as its headquarters. That headquarters was a relatively small building on Cleveland Street, which is the main street in downtown Clearwater that we will spend the majority of our time during our walk today. But here, 2 blocks away, is the new headquarters. That old building remains there today as the church's information center, and we'll take a look at that later as well. In the early 2000s, having outgrown the smaller facility 2 blocks away, the church has started construction on this mega facility. Its construction started in 1998 on this, what's known as the Flag Building. It's also referred to as the Superpower Building. We see it occupies a full city block, and it exists primarily as an education center for visiting Scientologists to help train them. Here you can take different courses with different price tags. Some courses may last a few weeks, cost $15,000. The building is 7 stories high, has 889 rooms and 42 bathrooms. It's not open to non-Scientologists, so we won't be able to go inside, but there are pictures available. I've read there's even a office for the late L. Ron Hubbard, in case his spirit needs some office space. Well, first we'll take a walk around this facility and see if we see any activity going on. See if we can get closer up. At least maybe we'll be able to look inside. Oh, just taking a video of downtown Tampa, downtown Clearwater.
Sorry?
I'm just taking a video of downtown Clearwater.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
Are you a member here or no?
I'm not.
Oh,
no.
You're just looking around like.
Yeah.
I got it. If you wouldn't mind, I mean, this is obviously private property here.
Okay.
I guess you look at the architecture and stuff.
Okay. Can I walk in here?
If you want to walk down that way, that's fine.
Okay. Great. Cool. Thank you. I expected can't go inside, but kind of anticipated that. Unfortunately, the windows are blocked off, so nothing you can really see inside. So we'll have to rely on photos available on the internet. But these photos indicate that inside this building, there's indeed a great lobby bar, library, that office I indicated for L. Ron Hubbard. Construction on this building started in 1998, but it took a while. There was a delay to construction starting in 2003, and the building wasn't completed until 2011, which is when they moved the headquarters from 2 blocks away to this building. Some say the delay was intentional, as it enabled the church to generate more donations from its rather generous parishioner base. And they did collect $145 million for this property that cost $80 million in terms of market value. Anyone you see with a uniform that kind of looks like a flight attendant is an employee here, a Scientologist that works here. And of course, they have many people from out of town who are taking courses. Also inside this building, I hear there is an anti-gravity room and an indoor running track for Scientologists that are undergoing the purification, rundown, detoxification program.
Okay, love you too. Take care.
Right across the street from the headquarters is a building that was formerly the Fort Harrison Hotel. Fort Harrison Hotel was constructed in 1926 and was Clearwater's largest and most prestigious hotel for many years. In 1975, the Church of Scientology purchased the hotel, in addition to its former headquarters on Cleveland Street, as well as 2 other properties in the area. And it is no longer a hotel open to the public, but instead serves as a hotel of sorts, I guess, but only for Scientologists coming from out of town to take one of the many courses in the headquarter buildings that we just visited. From this view, you can see the proximity just on across the street of Fort Harrison from the flag building, the Scientology headquarters. In fact, you can see a second floor walkway that would enable Scientologists to go from their hotel to the headquarters, avoiding today's rain, for example. Able to look inside? No. As everything indicated, the Fort Harrison Hotel is indeed not open to the public nowadays. Since 1975, there have been 3 suspicious deaths at this hotel. In each case, the church disputed the official police cause report of death. One of them was in 1995, involving a woman in her mid-30s named Lisa McPherson, who had a minor traffic accident in the area and then proceeded to strip naked in what she later described as basically a cry for help. She was looking for some mental health counseling. The county was going to commit her to a mental facility, but the church intervened. Scientology, after all, is based initially on psychotherapy, and they said they would help cure her of her mental illness. So she was returned to this hotel, or this facility, for Scientologists. A few weeks later, she was brought to the hospital and was dead on arrival. Hospital staff indicated that there was signs of abuse, contusions, abrasions, insect bites. The church disputed this and eventually were found not guilty of causing her death, though there was a lawsuit that was later settled with her family. In addition to these 3 suspicious deaths, there have been others suspicious doings with the church, both here in Clearwater and in other locations. There's been charges of brainwashing, charges of secrecy, many controversies that have been surrounding the Church of Scientology, both here in Clearwater and throughout the world. There is actually another church here, a Presbyterian church. So interestingly, right across the street from the Church of Scientology, there is some, I guess, freedom of religion in the area. Now in front of us, we're looking at the Clearwater City Hall. Pretty generic looking building, not quite as pretty as the 2 Scientology buildings we just saw. And through the years, the relationship between the city of Clearwater and the Church of Scientology has not exactly been rainbows and kumbaya. Back as far as 1975, the original acquisition of the first headquarters in the Fort Harrison Hotel that we just saw, along with a few other local properties, was done secretly by the Church of Scientology. It was done through some shadow companies named the United Churches of Florida and Southern Land Development. So the sales were basically finalized before there was awareness of who the real buyer was. When it was discovered, the mayor of Clearwater at the time, Gabe Cazares, objected to the sale and tried to block it. He was fearful of a cult entering his city. This caused much friction and rivalry between the mayor and the new major tenant, the Church of Scientology. And basically Scientology didn't take well to the mayor's opposition to them. Documents seized during a 1977 FBI raid showed that the church conspired to ruin Cazares using their, what they call, attack the attacker mantra. They planned to produce documents falsely showing Cazares to be a bigamist. And they also tried to frame Cazares for a hit and run that the church themselves, orchestrated with some actors. Amazingly, due to complex reasons involving immunities and offered in other cases involving Scientology, nobody was convicted for the setup. Cazares did sue the church and eventually collected in a settlement that was took place in 1986. Since then, tensions between the church and the city have continued. During that same 1977 FBI raid, documents also demonstrated that the church had a mission to eventually take over the city of Clearwater. There's a 1.4 acre lot, which I believe is what we see, this parking lot right in front of us here, that was up for sale in 2016, 40 years after the initial move-in from the Church of Scientology. And this caused another re-intensification of their 1975-76 disputes. This 1.4 acre lot, empty at the time, was being sold by the Clearwater Aquarium. Unlike the 1975 situation where the city was unaware that the Church of Scientology was negotiating for land property, the reverse happened here. And the church was unaware that this property was for sale. Well, eventually they found out before the sale was finalized legally. And the city of Clearwater had offered 4-point-something million for the property. But this property is adjacent not just to the city hall that we see in front of us, but also to the Fort Harrison Hotel that we see, that we had just visited previously and are now looking at it from 2 blocks away. So the Church of Scientology really wanted this property. So they stepped up and offered the aquarium $12 million, nearly 3 times what the city had offered. Well, the aquarium decided that they had, in spirit, already made an agreement with the city, and they stuck to that agreement, selling it for the lower price of $4 million. The Church of Scientology felt it was unfairly being blackballed out of an acquisition of property that it wanted. Some say that current leader David Miscavige effectively at that point declared war on the city of Clearwater, doubling down on the organization's 1975 vow to take over the city. And as we stand here in 2023, you could probably say that that takeover is complete. But before we get to Cleveland Street and try to observe signs of that takeover, I'm going to get a little bit closer to the Intracoastal that separates the city of downtown Clearwater from Clearwater Beach. The city of Clearwater was named Clearwater in 1906 based on the springs we see right in front of us that are in between City Hall and the Intracoastal that separates mainland Clearwater from Clearwater Beach. We'll take a walk over to see that Intracoastal. Right now, we are underneath the Memorial Causeway, which is where you can drive from downtown Clearwater or the mainland over to Clearwater Beach on the other side of this Intracoastal waterway. This causeway was built in 1915. And on the other side where the beach is, unlike here where I was easily able to obtain free parking, it might be quite hard to find free parking in Clearwater Beach unless you go at 4 a.m. But beyond the downtown that we're touring today, overall, the city of Clearwater contains 36 square miles, so only a small part of which is this downtown. Aside from Clearwater Beach on the other side of the Intracoastal, which is also part of the city of Clearwater, if we go east or north or south, the city of Clearwater is pretty much like any other southeastern U.S. suburban city. Lots of private homes, highways, schools, malls, 7-Elevens, Chili's, and a lot of non-Scientologists. Basically your typical suburban city. But this downtown Clearwater area has effectively become Scientology City. The full city of Clearwater, beyond this, just this downtown area, has a population of 117,000. Demographically, whites represent 71% of the population, blacks represent 12%, Asians represent, no one cares about that stuff. It's the same in every city. So let me give you an interesting stat, something that's unique. Scientologists have 12,000 people here, which is 11% of the overall Clearwater population. And most of those are located in this downtown area, which only has a population of 26,000. So from a percentage perspective, Scientologists make up about 40, perhaps 45% of downtown Clearwater's citizens. Which, when you consider that nationally, Scientology represents about 1/10% of the population, the fact that it has 11% of overall Clearwater or 40% of downtown Clearwater is quite an interesting and unusual statistic. We're making our way to Cleveland Street, which is the main street here in downtown Clearwater. Now we're going to be walking here from the westernmost point of Cleveland Street for about a half a mile through the heart of downtown. Now, getting back to that 2016-2017 dispute between the church and the city over that purchase of the 1.4 acre lot we saw. Well, the city won that battle. They got the land at the original lower price that they offered, despite the church's higher offer. But there were repercussions from that win. Since then, the Church of Scientology has intensified its takeover efforts. Some might call it a hostile takeover effort of downtown Clearwater. Hurt by the rejection and the belief that they were unfairly blocked from a right they had to buy that lot, there's a rumor that Scientologists engaged in a boycott of non-Scientologist-owned businesses here in downtown. The church denies this, and who knows, it's a he said, she said kind of thing, but what is clear is the church's acquisition strategy that followed the rejected offer. Here's a quick look at what the church owned downtown in 1975. And now see what it looks like in 2019, with a significant portion of this growth happening after that dispute from 2017 to 2019. The Church of Scientology now owns over 60 properties in this area, while 100 other sites are owned by companies affiliated with Scientology, as represented in this map. Combined, the Clearwater, the Church of Scientology and their affiliates own about 80% of downtown Clearwater. Now, bear in mind that the directly church-owned properties are tax exempt, as this was a religious, approved federally as a religious organization starting in 1993. So the city gets no revenue from the millions the church gets on its purification and other courses held here, nor from the 72% of the, nor do they get revenue from about 72% of the other Scientology-owned businesses in the city. No wonder the church and the city don't like each other. Now, maybe I'm giving only one side of the issue. I don't know any Scientologists. I don't have a perspective from an actual Scientologist, so I'd be interested. I mean, I could be unduly influenced by a media that's been quite critical here in Tampa of the Church of Scientology. I'm a fan of South Park, so I see a lot of Tom Cruise bashing on that show, so maybe I'm unfairly biased by that. But I'm open. I'd like to hear you in the comments if any Scientologists are watching and you have some different perspective. I'd appreciate that. I am a John Travolta fan. He's one of my favorite actors. I think Kirstie Alley was the better Cheers actress, protagonist in that show. And I mean, what can you say about Isaac Hayes' voice? I mean, so yeah, if my perceptions are off and I'm being unfair, I'd appreciate your perspective in the comments. Now, one of the things we want to see today is one of the rumors that effectively the Scientologists are buying up all this property just to not use it with some kind of nefarious endgame in mind. It's been described that Clearwater has become a ghost town, with Scientology and Scientologists buying property or lots just to not develop them. And that's something we can try to observe today and either confirm or refute. Today is Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. It's about 10:30 in the morning. So it's a busiest shopping day in the US. So businesses should be open. We'll see. But in front of me, you see a large building. It's called the Skyview building. On top of this building is a 2-story penthouse. I presume it's this one that we're focused on right now. It's known as the Tom Cruise penthouse. That's right. Top Gun himself lived right here, just 2 blocks away from his church's world headquarters. This way he can easily walk these quiet streets to the superpower building anytime he wants, probably without that paparazzi following he'd get in California. Inside this penthouse, it's very nice. It surely has a beautiful view of the Intracoastal walkway we just saw that separates downtown from Clearwater Beach. So now we're getting into the heart of our walk on Cleveland Street. In front of us is the Capitol Theater, right across the street from the Skyview. This portion of Cleveland Street is pedestrian only. The Capitol Theater is now operated by Ruth Eckerd Hall. And as we walk through this heart of Cleveland Street, let's just take notice particularly of how many businesses are open versus closed. Across the street is the one-stop shop, which does indeed appear to be open right now. Right next to the Skyview building, right in the heart of downtown, you see a property for lease. Another one named Roxy's. It appears to be an art gallery and a restaurant. So, despite the rumors, this particular block does seem to be mostly pretty active. As we approach the corner of Cleveland Street and Fort Harrison Avenue, on my left side, we see the People's Bank This building was built in 1910, basically when downtown Clearwater was first being developed. The clock that you see here was added in 1930. And the People's Bank is one of 3 buildings that we're going to see today on Cleveland Street that's currently being renovated to its initial style, both internally and externally, from 1910. It does appear currently there is no business for operation open at this time at this corner. Across the street from this, there is Starbucks. Starbucks is open. You can't really keep Starbucks out of business. Every city has a Starbucks. I'm sure Scientologists probably drink lattes and frappes too. I mean, they're human after all, right? They're not space aliens. Or are they? Across Fort Harrison, we see in front of us the Coachman Building. This building was built in 1917 and was considered Clearwater's first high-rise. 5 floors, it doesn't really look very high-rise to me, but I guess by 1917 standards, it was. This building is now owned by the Church of Scientology and is used by them as a study center. It does have some displays on the side. And it's not just Cleveland Street. Right now we're on Fort Harrison Street, 2 blocks north of Cleveland Street, and we see the same pattern. Many, not all, but many storefronts completely unused. Restoration Cafe is open, but potential storefronts on both the left and the right are unoccupied. Across the street, I assume are Scientology-owned operations, the Way to Happiness and United for Human Rights. Espana Cafe is open. Another business here, just 1 block from Cleveland and on Fort Harrison, and again unused in what should be prime business real estate area. Yeah, very unusual. You see this in the 1990s. It may not have been too surprising, but for a downtown to have so many vacant and unused properties in 2023 is highly unusual. Now, take a look across the street on the other side of Cleveland Street is the initial, or I should say the 1975 to 2011 headquarters of the Church of Scientology, which is now an information center that is, unlike the current headquarters, this building is open to the public, so you don't have to be a Scientologist to enter this building. This building was constructed in 1918 and was the old Bank of Clearwater until it was purchased by Scientology in 1975. It was restored in 1995, continuing to serve as the headquarters until the nearby flag building was completed. It appears to be open, so let's take a look inside. Okay. Well, not only was I asked not to video, but not allowed to bring a camera inside. So, continuing the reputation that the organization has for secrecy. So we're still on Cleveland Street. Here's something, again, not open. We're really in what would be the heart of downtown. So several different businesses that appear not to be open. Across the street, also other businesses not currently open. This building that we are looking at, though, is a historic building. It's the Woolworths building. It's the second building on the street currently being renovated of the three I mentioned. This was also constructed in 1910, though it became a Woolworths in 1928, back when the chain had 1,000 stores nationwide. At the time, Clearwater was the smallest city in the U.S. to have a Woolworths. The chain was basically taking a gamble that Clearwater's city and its business would grow, and they were right. The store remained here in operation for 50 years. Okay, here we do have some operating businesses. It's early. It's about 10:30 on a Friday, so some of them aren't open but they do have tables outside indicating that they are currently in operation. And here's the, unfortunately, being obscured by scaffolding, but this is the third of the three historic buildings currently being renovated. This is called the Telephone Building. It was built in 1914. Now we're getting into more of the corporate side of downtown Tampa, and here we have the Atrium office building, which was purchased by an individual Scientologist in 2017, which kind of attracted quite a bit of attention from the media. And across the street is the Bank of America office building, which is closed permanently for business. So even a approximately 10-story office building right in the heart of downtown is closed. I'm no longer on a pedestrian-only street, but it's pretty easy to walk in the middle of the street here as there's very little activity going on. That said, it's a pretty downtown. We're going to enter a little park. It's in between the closed office building and what appears to be a residence. The city has made significant efforts to revitalize the area, and I think effectively a lot of the frustration that they feel have been thwarted by the acquisitions from the Church of Scientology, which have kind of impeded the efforts to make this a lively happening downtown, more in line with what is happening in St. Petersburg further south. Across the street we see another business that's not in operation, another storefront empty and unused, which in 2023 in Florida, let me tell you, is quite unusual. There are very few abandoned and unused properties in most of the state. Real estate is at a premium, and for downtown commercial property to be unused is quite unusual. Yeah, basically this block storefront after storefront includes nothing but empty businesses. There's one that's open here, Downtown Vaporium. That one actually is open, as well as the next door Pilates and gym. And then across the street, still on Cleveland Street, is the Cleveland Street Clearwater Post Office. This is on the U.S. Registry of Historic Buildings. It was built in 1933. It is the day after Thanksgiving, so it is surely closed, but at least this building will open up for business on Monday. On a totally different note, we're crossing Northeast Avenue, which has the Pinellas Trail. So for those of you that are joggers, cyclists, walkers, the Pinellas Trail is a 45-mile trail that goes through the county of Pinellas. The southern point is St. Petersburg, the northern point is Tarpon Springs, and we're standing, roughly the midpoint. It's a beautiful trail. I've jogged it, the whole thing, not in one go, of course, but over time, and you could probably cycle it in one go if you are ready for a very long ride. I recommend it. Most of it is through secluded woods with a lot of variation in geography, though this is the only part of it that comes off the trail to go through a downtown. Across the street, we see yet another unused property in the heart of downtown. So we've seen many unused storefronts and lots, but why? Well, what's the end game of purchasing properties to not even use them? Is it just a thwart to kind of get back at the city and stop its revitalization plans as a revenge? Or is there something more nefarious in mind? Alternatively, though, is there anything wrong inherently with a religious organization buying up a city to have its home for its own people? Maybe not. There have been rumblings, though, of the church with its deep pockets and shady past monitoring non-Scientologist business owners. We already saw that they don't like to be filmed, as indicated by even the information center not allowing a camera inside. But, is that important? Is it all hyperbole? Is this really a ruthless, deep-pocketed cult religion seeking to impose its will on a Florida community? Or is it just another resident looking to contribute and find its own place? Of course, from this limited walk, it's hard to conclude anything, but no one's following me or harassing me, so I don't think, despite the rumors that they might do that to people who film. But anyway, I would again love to hear from y'all in the comments if you have any personal insights or experiences with Scientology, particularly as it impacts downtown Clearwater. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this walk through downtown Clearwater, aka the city of Scientology. And I'm gonna ask for your help. No, I don't need your money. I just need one simple thing. Just if you could go and click on subscribe, that'll help me keep going with this channel and do similar walks. And if you have another time, just click on the like button, that'll help as well. So this is the Rurban Walker checking out from Scientology City in downtown Clearwater. Until the next walk, see ya.